Here are some notes that I want to share with you about side hustles. You have to know your why. What's up, SE Nation? Welcome back to another video. My name is Ramzi Marjaba. I'm a sales engineer out of Ottawa, Canada, and I help people get better as sales engineers, or if they're not sales engineers yet and they want to become one, I help them do that as well. Now, this topic is kind of not about that. It's more about side hustles. I had on the show recently Donald Kelly, who has a business right now, but it started off as a side hustle. He's a staunch advocate of side hustling. I wanted to share a list of 7 reasons why you should think about starting a side hustle. Let's just get into it and start with number 1, obviously, learning many technical skills. When you start a side hustle, there's a lot of things that you need to do that you were not exposed to before. I mean, if you're already let's say a web developer and you want to start a side hustle that includes web developing, then okay, great. You know that. But there are other things that you might not have used. Like if you want to create an email list, how do you do that? How do you automate that? It might not be difficult, but at least it exposes a lot of people to different things. Like I'm a network engineer, right? I studied communications engineering. I didn't study web development. I had to create my own website. I had to figure out ways around because coding isn't really my thing. I can learn it. I've done coding in the past. I don't enjoy it, but I've had to learn some things around it so I can develop the website we the sales engineers. I did develop that from scratch. You get to work with people. You get to learn from people. You get to do some technical stuff that you might not otherwise have to. And that's why I think side hustles are important. The second reason number 2, which is the second reason why I think you should do a side hustle, is to improve in your chosen career or at your chosen career. English isn't my first language. The third reason is to improve your English, but that's not even on the list. I decided when I wanted to do a side hustle, if you will, with we the sales engineers, I decided to do it because I didn't feel like I was a good sales engineer. I wanted to improve somehow, and there wasn't anything out there that could help me. So I started a podcast, and from that it grew. I help other SEs achieve what they want to achieve. I'm good at it. And also, I've been able to get raises. I've been able to connect with people that otherwise I wouldn't have connected to just because I started this side hustle. It's a niche side hustle. If you're in another domain, it might be a little bit more difficult, but it's doable if you look at it long enough. And the third reason why you should do a side hustle, the actual third reason, not to get better at English, because I've been doing that for 5 years and I'm still not good at English. Anyways, learning some business skills. As sales engineers, we're supposed to be part of the business aspect of our work, but a lot of salespeople keep us at a distance and don't show us what's going on with the business, and we don't really appreciate it until we actually do some of the work. And there are things like bookkeeping, right? Any expense that you have that you want to tax, and I'm not giving tax advice here, you need to figure that out. If you want to hire virtual assistants, that's a skill that you're going to have to learn that may not be available for you because now you're spending your own money. Even if you're an SE manager or a manager in general, and you're looking to hire an individual, it's not the same as you shelling out your own money. And you also get to learn leadership skills. If you hire a team, like it could be a team of 1, team of 2, it doesn't really matter. Or it could be volunteers. Like I have volunteers that help me with the videos. Like this video is probably edited by James Somerville, who's looking for a sales engineer role. So if you want to reach out to him, please make sure to do so. He edits this video. Anthony Palmozzi, he helps me with the thumbnails. It doesn't have to be leadership as in I hired you. It's much harder to lead volunteers who can leave at any point than it is to lead someone you're paying. Now, the fourth reason, and I think that this one's very important as well. I think all of them are important. It gets you to differentiate yourself from other people. There's a gentleman by the name of Ryan Fraze. He was on the show before. Also, you can check out his episode. He did multiple side hustles, and he had them on the resume, and he used those to differentiate himself in interviews with hiring managers, because now the hiring managers are curious about his side hustles just as much as they're curious about his technical skills or sales skills and all that. When all things are equal, when you're applying to jobs and everybody's looking the same, someone with a side hustle can look very appealing against someone who doesn't have a side hustle. Number 5 is it generates another source of income. And depending on how much effort you put in, depending on your goals, it could be a small source of income. It could be a huge source of income to the point where you end up being like Donald Kelly and you just go into that full time. And then you help your own employees start their own side hustles. Like, I personally don't enjoy having one source of income. It's a sucky feeling, especially in the world we're living in today, where you hear people around you getting laid off left and right. You always start wondering if it's you. I'm good at my job, but you never know. Like, those people who were laid off were also good at their job. So having one source of income is not ideal. Having multiple sources of income is great, and it depends on what you want to do. Like, I really recommend generating multiple sources of income, and it could be for now or it could be for the future. For example, for immediate, I have VDSEs. It brings me some income. It's not a tremendous amount of income, but it's enough that I want to keep doing it, because after 5 years, you want to get like rewarded for the efforts you've put in. On the other hand, for the long term, I do invest in real estate. So I have two sources of income, but only one is time consuming versus another. My wife does most of the work on the real estate stuff. She manages the contractors and all that. Having multiple sources of income for now and for the future is a good thing. James just messaged me and told me that I missed number 6 from the list. That 6th reason is to learn sales. Sales is much different than what people think. From what I've seen, sales engineers sit there and look at salespeople and think, hey, I can do their job better, but they don't know what it is. And if you start a side hustle and you start trying to figure out how to sell your services, you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about sales, the sales process, and you'll get a better appreciation for salespeople. So now that I've covered this 6th topic, let's go back to the original video. Number 7, the last reason that I can think of. I'm sure you can think of other reasons. So if you do, leave a comment below. The last reason is to expand your network, because once you do start doing side hustles, you start talking to more people you want to emulate, more people you want to learn from. It expands your network, it grows your network. I've had Peter Cohen, John Kerr, Chris White, Patrick Pasang, Damien Tomasino, Trevor Spires. I've had a million people, well, not a million, around 270 people on my podcast. I wouldn't have had them otherwise if I didn't have a side hustle, if I didn't have a reason to reach out. And that grew my network tremendously. And I'm still growing. It's still not enough. It's never enough. I'm the kind of person who prefers quality over quantity. I'm not out there reaching out to every single person, but even if you're like me, it'll still grow your network. These are the 7 reasons you should start a side hustle. Here are some notes that I want to share with you about side hustles. I gave you many reasons. The most important reason for starting a side hustle is something you have to come up with. You have to know your why. Maybe it's just you want to do something for fun. That's great. Do it for fun. But that why has to resonate with you more than it has to resonate with me. In my experience, side hustling is hard. You're working a full-time job. You still want to be great at your job because you don't want to get fired. Generally speaking, nobody wants to suck at their job. You hear about quiet quitters. For me, I just want to excel at my job. So there's that. There's also family. There's also hobbies. The side hustle is taking time away from that. You're sacrificing some time for that. Just know your why. Know you want to do it so you can keep doing it, so you don't quit. Like, if you don't have a why and you start something, then there is no problem quitting. Maybe that's not the right side hustle for you. And the second note I want to share here is, what is your end goal? I started WeDSEs because I wanted to learn. I felt like I wasn't great as a sales engineer. I wanted to learn from John Kerr, Peter Cohen, Bob Rice, Chris White, all the other SEs who are not famous that I wanted to talk to. That was my why. I wanted to get better at my job. My why has since changed because I'm better at my job. And now I'm trying to make it into a business. But on the other hand, you have Pre-Sales Collective. They started Pre-Sales Collective as a business from the get-go. They approached it differently. And that's why I'm saying, like, what is your end goal? Are you starting a business, or are you trying to learn, or are you trying to have fun, or is it just something you want to do? All of this will affect the way you approach a side hustle. And the last thing is, how do you choose a side hustle? My thoughts around it is, it has to be something you want to build mastery around. My side hustle was about sales engineering because I wanted to build mastery around my sales engineering skills. It is something I enjoy at the same time. I think sales engineering is the best job in the world, but it's not my hobby. My personal opinion is, I don't think you should turn a hobby, something you love, something you enjoy doing that relaxes you, something to get away from life stresses, I don't think you should turn that into a side hustle. Now you're just adding stress to your hobby, and you're going to have to find something else to be relaxing. What is it that you want to become a master at? Is it video editing? Then start a side hustle that is all about video editing, right? Reach out to YouTubers, reach out to people who want to become YouTubers, and try to build your network there. If you want to master building websites, then your side hustle should be about building websites. Stuff like that. Like, what is it that you want to master, and go there. I don't think you should build more than one side hustle at a time. Like I mentioned, I have the real estate and I also have VDSEs. After my job, 90% of my free time goes towards VDSEs and 10% goes towards real estate. I have my wife who takes care of a lot of the things for real estate. I don't have to worry about a lot of that. So it's fun for me. It's more stressful for her, but it's fun for me. There is no guarantee that you'll get anywhere with a side hustle. Many people have started side hustles that went nowhere. Just keep that in mind. That's why I feel like you should build something that you want to have mastery in, because even if it doesn't become a side hustle with revenue, at least you're better at something that you want to get better at. And if you want to turn it into a business at some point, go ahead and do so. What are your goals for the side hustle? And let me know. If you have any goals, let me know what kind of side hustle you want. If you want to have a discussion, I'm happy to have that discussion. Leave a comment below. If this video was useful for you, make sure to like it, make sure to share it, and I would love it if you subscribed. It will help the channel. That's it for me. Come back to work. Peace.